Hey guys, Andrew Marsh here with DrewFit.com. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the real health concerns today as of 2018, and I put in parentheses 2018 simply because these issues I'm going to be talking about weren't issues 5, 10, 15 years ago, and they may not be the same issue 10 years from now. So I want to be very clear on that, and it is July of 2018 to be more specific. But anyways, I want you guys to bear with me because I may jump around a little bit, but I want you guys to really take these things I'm talking about pretty seriously, and if you could spread the word about these issues, that would be awesome, simply because I think a lot of people can use this information. And let me jump right into it. Talking about diet, I think it's a very small percentage of a concern that we should be really worried about, simply because diet's main purpose in my eyes is to decrease inflammation in the body and to really get you your broad spectrum of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, good fats, so on and so forth. And if you know me, you know I'm a huge proponent of paleo and keto, and I also implement carb backloading as well. So it is great to have a good diet, don't get me wrong, but I think there are some other issues we need to account for as well. And I know you're going to get a lot of food gurus who are going to tell you that it's the diet that's the most important part. And I got news for you. I definitely don't think it's the main issue. I think these three I'm going to be discussing today is what you should really be concerned with. So first, I'm going to talk about cell phone towers and population density, and I grouped those two together simply because if you're in a dense population, a very popular city, there's going to be a lot of cell phone towers simply because a lot of people need their cell phone service, and they need it now, and they need very good service wherever they go. So it's pretty simple. And I'm really going to be talking about 5G, which is coming soon, and that's one that scares me quite a bit simply because what they're doing, they're taking the frequency right now with these 3G and 4G towers that are at a 3 gigahertz, and they're blasting it up to either 24 up to 100 gigahertz in certain areas. And what that means really is you're going to be saturated with radiation. So I want you to think of kind of like a microwave. They're just amplifying it big time from what it's already at, and right now it's pretty bad at 3 gigahertz, so I can only imagine what happens when 5G actually goes live. And like I said, they don't know when it's going to go live. Could be a couple years from now, could be 5 years, I don't know. But I do know they are testing it in certain cities nationwide. I've heard of testing in New York, in Austin, Texas, certain parts of Colorado, and Denver, and Colorado Springs, and also up and down the coast of California as well. I specifically heard in San Diego they're actually doing a test trial. I think it's 26 cell towers in a couple mile radius, and that's pretty scary if you ask me. And the main issue with this, to me, is the frequency at what they're going to be roasting us at is pretty damn scary. What it does really is really dehydrates us at a cellular level, and when your cells become dehydrated, it leaves you susceptible to so many diseases. And I heard in one podcast with Dr. Jack Cruz, he said the doctors may be floored with what's going on because they're going to have people come in with certain things like leaky gut syndrome to mental issues, and really these doctors aren't going to have an answer to what's going on because I don't think it's going to show up on any test that they do. So to really be aware of the city you're living in is going to play a major factor, and population density. I mean, even if you're living in an apartment complex, it's pretty dense, especially when you have so many people in there with cell phones, with internet routers. It's pretty crazy when you look at the facts of how dangerous these things are. And just recently, this is something I personally do. When I go to bed at night, I put my phone on airplane mode and I unplug the internet router. And I've noticed improvements in my quality of sleep. So that just tells me, and I'm a pretty healthy guy. I haven't really had any major health concerns. But I've noticed an improvement in my sleep in just doing that small thing. So when 5G goes live, it's going to be pretty crazy what we see here. So I know people have their conspiracies. I honestly am kind of curious, but I'm also scared at the same time of what's going to happen. It'll be interesting to see, but just know that if you take precautions and kind of distance yourself possibly from where these 5G towers are going to be, it's going to be a smart idea to do. And another thing about this, if you've seen these towers, like I said, they are on a pole. They have canister looking things in a circular way, and they have cords coming off the bottoms of them. Just driving around in the metro area in Denver, I see quite a bit of them if you're actually looking for them. And actually in a couple miles away or a mile away, they have two of them that are pretty big, and they're disguised as pine trees. And you can really tell they're cell phone towers. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to hide, but the fact that they are trying to disguise them is a little suspicious to me. And in Arizona, I know they put them in cactus. So if they're dressing them up as something, that's got to pose a question to you as well of how bad these things actually are. But the 5G, they aren't going to be as big of towers, but there's going to be a lot more of them. They're going to be putting them in urban areas and people's neighborhoods, and which is pretty scary because I've seen on the news they're just putting them in people's yards without even asking, because I think the city's giving them the go-ahead. And yeah, these people are protesting, and you have companies like AT&T that are saying that oh, there's no health concerns that you can find that you should be worried about. It's actually going to be a great thing. You're going to get such faster internet, up to 100 times faster, and people are going to love it, and so on and so forth. But because the data isn't consistent with the health issues that these things cause, that's the scary part, is they aren't going to stop. I don't expect this to stop. I think they're going to go on full force, and it's something that you need to make yourself aware of and take precautions and do research on your own time. I'm still learning, so all this little bit of information I'm giving you, I hope that it gets you to take action as well and do some more research so you can avoid this. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is blue light toxicity. What blue light is, I'll give you a brief overview from my understanding. So the sun puts off certain colors. It puts off blue light, red, indigo, I think yellow, purple, and ultraviolet. And all of these colors come with different wavelengths and energies. And I think it's red at one end of the spectrum has very high wavelength but very low energy, and blue light has very low wavelength, so it doesn't reach out as far, but it's the highest in energy. And they put blue lights in LEDs, fluorescents, your tablets, phones, TV, computers, and most light bulbs that you're using, unless you're using incandescents, or if you're using infrared lights. But it's a rarity nowadays. Everywhere you go, you're going to be seeing LED lights, even in cars, for headlights and everything like that. And again, this also dehydrates you at a cellular level. And in my opinion, I think it's probably one of the biggest health concerns that we have today, simply because all of us, not all of us, but a high percentage of us are working indoors under artificial light when we should be outside. I mean, we're the only species on this planet that willingly sits under fake light. I admit it, I do it too. I'm not happy about it, but I think there are profound effects. I mean, you see people with getting headaches or eye strain or macular degeneration. So many things that happen with the eyes and the brain simply with this, and it goes in deeply with certain diseases. I mean, every time, from my understanding, every time you pick up your phone and look at it, it's telling your brain with that blue light in there that it's 12 p.m. because blue light is heaviest at 12 p.m. during the day. So what this is really doing, if you're looking at blue light at nighttime, which is the worst time to look at blue light, you're telling your brain it's noon, it's noon, it's noon. And if you do that a lot, you're going to notice your sleep starts to fail big time. And that's simply because your ruining your circadian rhythm. Your body has a biological clock. For instance, if you're healthy and your body can produce melatonin naturally, your body will go to sleep when it's time to go to sleep when the sun goes down, and you'll wake naturally when the sun rises. And that's how it should be, but today we're so blue light toxic that our circadian biology is just completely ruined, and this leads to so many things. You're going to have sleep disruptions, anxiety, depression, certain diseases or cancers, and it's pretty scary because we don't really look at it as being an issue because it's just become the norm nowadays. But I'll tell you from personal experience, I've done landscaping probably off and on 5 out of the last 8 years, or 6 out of the last 8 years. And I will say, when I'm outside working in the sun, my sleep quality is so much better. I have an enhanced mood. And when I go into an office, I notice things like I get more anxious. My sleep starts to not be as good. And it's pretty crazy what happens. And one way you can mitigate this issue, and I didn't talk about how you can mitigate issues for cell phone towers. I'll leave that for another video. But one easy fix that you can do for blue light toxicity is to get blue light blocking glasses. They have the orange lenses, or you can get the clear ones. I recommend the clear ones for daytime if you're working on a computer, simply because I don't think they block as much of the blue light. But what I've noticed, if I wear these orange ones during the day, that I actually get a little bit tired if I'm inside and I have those on for an hour or 2 at a time, because I think they're so good at blocking blue light. And you need blue light. I'm not saying blue light is terrible, but we are over abundance in blue light, and it's become toxic within our systems. So you don't want it from artificial sources. You want it from the sun. If you work in an office all day, try to ask if you can take sun breaks 3 or 4 times in the morning and 3 or 4 times in the afternoon, and try to take a walk at lunch. If you can eat at your desk, I know it's not such a great thing, but if it's going to up your chances for getting outside at lunch and getting in the sun, I highly advise to do that. It's going to really impact your life, I think. And one of the things that I do, and I got this from Dr. Jack Cruz, and I've been practicing it for nearly 3 or 4 months now, and it's waking up like the Sphinx. You want to get out in the sun when the sun is rising and kind of gaze around the sun, so you can you actually have receptors in your eyes that help create melatonin and balance your hormones through the sun. And I want you to do more research on this as well. And I highly advise you do not stare directly in the sun. You can actually close your eyes and let the sun hit you with your eyes closed, and you can absorb it that way if you're not comfortable with looking at the sun. But that's going to help big time, especially for blue light toxicity. It's going to help get your mitochondria functioning again. And the next thing I want to talk about is water. Now this is a big topic that's up for debate. Me personally, if you've followed me on Instagram or seen some of my YouTube videos, I'm a pretty big advocate on drinking distilled water, simply because it's the cleanest water you can get. There's nothing in it, and it flushes all the bad junk out of you. People make the arguments for saying it leaches minerals from your body, and it causes early death. I don't believe that 100%. I've been drinking it for, I think, 9 or 10 months now, and all I've noticed are benefits. Mental clarity has gone through the roof. My physical health has never been better. Digestion's just on point, no issues really. And I think it's just getting better from there. If I noticed anything that it was making my health worse, I'd probably stop, take a step back, and reevaluate. But I'm going to go with the distilled water, but that's neither here nor there. It's up to your discretion to what makes sense to you. But first, I want to shed light on tap water. That is by far, in my opinion, the worst to consume, simply because you're not sure what the cities are putting in these waters. I know that people have said there's been viruses, parasites. Obviously, fluoride has been put into the water, and they say the fluoride's put in there to strengthen our teeth or our enamel, whatever their facts may say. I don't believe so. I believe fluoride is one toxin that enters the blood-brain barrier and has major effects on our mental health. It also calcifies our pineal gland, which is considered our third eye in our brain. And so just stay away from tap water. Just because it's clear and you actually can't see that there's stuff in there, they are dissolved in the water. And it's funny, all three of these things are really things you can't see. Well, aside from blue light, but you can't see its effects of it actually damaging you. All you see is a light. Cell phone towers, you can't see the frequencies. Some people can feel them if you're hypersensitive. In water, you can't sit there and look at a glass of water and tell me, oh, I can see there's viruses and parasites in here. Obviously it's just too small to see, and they're dissolved obviously in the water. The next one, spring water. My issue with spring water is not knowing what kind of minerals are actually in the water. I think that they're actually inorganic minerals coming from rocks because they're coming from the springs and they're dissolving the rocks. And in my opinion, I don't think you're supposed to be consuming minerals from rock. Last time I checked, humans don't eat rock. But the good thing about spring water, and this is something I learned recently, is that it's deuterium depleted, which is a plus. But you can also do that with distilled water by freezing it for a couple hours, breaking down the ice, and putting a strainer over and pouring out the stuff that's water, and all of the deuterium is what turned to ice. In deuterium, I'm still learning about it, so I don't want to give you guys false facts, but I know that it has a lot to do with changing the actual structure of the water, I believe, taking out a hydrogen, I think it is. Anyways, once I learn more on that, I'll do a video, because I think it's very important that as we age, we have to do with less deuterium in our bodies. And as the older you get, you can't deplete it yourself, so you definitely need help from other sources like the water you drink. So that's the one reason I would say spring water is good. But like I said, distilled water is something I highly recommend. It's pure and it's free of contaminants. Or you could even do reverse osmosis water. And if you get a TDS meter, which is a total dissolved solid meter, what you do is you just stick it in the water and it measures all of the dissolved solids that are in that water. And with this distilled water, it should come out as a 0. In reverse osmosis, I've seen it as low as like 3 or 4, but usually it won't be anything over 10, which is great. And another reason I personally recommend distilled water is because it makes you less conductive. There's less junk and gunk built up inside of your arteries, inside of your intestines. And when you have less of that inorganic substance, I believe that it makes you less conductive. And when you're living in a 5G world of blue light toxicity, you want to be as less conductive as possible, and get things flowing through your body to free up oxygen, get oxygen to the cells. And what I've noticed with distilled water is that is its main purpose, to clean you out, to get oxygen to the body, to allow you to breathe, and at a cellular level, to get oxygen to the cells. And I've said this time and again, but I can't really say how important that is. So to bring this all together, there's these are the top 3 things I think you need to be concerned with in regards to health today. Like I said, diet is important. Fitness, I'm not going to get into that argument. Obviously there's certain programs I disagree with as they put you at higher risk for injury. But if you implement certain structure to your fitness program, you're obviously going to see results, and as long as you keep it safe and push hard, you're going to see results. So diet and exercise are important, but these 3 are the most important in my opinion. And I want to thank you guys for watching today. And if you can leave a comment if you have any issues or questions that you want to get through, or if you can share this video as well, get this message out to people close to you and let them be aware of the facts that are out there. And I want to thank you guys for watching and have a great day. Bye.